Man, it's time to get fired up for that first day of practice for this year. I got a great video for you today. We're going to talk about the perfect plan for a successful first day of youth football practice. This is great for you new coaches, but for coaches who are coming back for their second, third, fifth, 20th year of coaching, I think there's a lot in here to consider and to add into your repertoire and some great things to remember. So let's dive right in right away and take a look. Man, the first day of practice it's a big day for everybody. There's a lot of excitement coming at you from a lot of different directions. Obviously, as coaches, we've been working on the season. We've been planning. We've probably had a draft. We've probably been getting, uniforms ready. All the things we do as coaches, man. Play planning and playbook making, all this stuff. Finally, the first day of practice, we get to put it out there in front of these kids and these parents, and we get to show everybody what we do behind closed doors. So a lot of excitement from coaches. You got a lot of excitement from parents. This is a big sport. It's a big commitment in most places, and parents want to see their kids succeed. And then obviously as youth football coaches, man, the thing that matters the most is these kids. And there's a ton of excitement from these kids to start practice. And there's a ton of nerves too. And all of that means that you got to have big energy from these coaches, from us coaches, from your assistant coaches, from the head coaches. We got a big need for energy out there. And it's tough to switch into that mode. You got to be ready to go on day one. Have that tone ready, set those expectations on day one, be ready to dive in and show these kids exactly what it is that a season of football in your program is going to feel like, sound like, look like. If you're a new coach, you might have a team that is all new players or kids who are coming from flag football and starting tackle football. If you're a coach who's coached before, if you're like me, you might have a team that has played together for a few years, but you've had a draft and we've added in a few new kids. So you got to remember that we have kids out here on day one who are remembering things from last year. It's been a long off season, but we've got kids who are learning things for the first time as well. We have to treat those uniquely, and we have to bring the energy needed to help both those groups of kids learn in the right way. It takes a lot from us as coaches, man. We're out there working hard. It's a big deal. You can see in the diagram, I've just included a quick little look at how we set up practice, just to give you sort of an early idea. Practice for us, you can see we have a designated warm-up area that we use for a couple other drills as well. For water breaks, we do put benches out. It's really hot here, so we do put out benches in the shade. We expect kids to be on a knee or standing where they can use the bench during water breaks. We got a water table. Usually has some gear for practice on it as well. We keep 5 extra gallons of water at least. I tried to keep a couple gallons of Gatorade to get a little bit of sugar and a little bit of salt into these kids as they need it in the heat. And then we have a big open area for drills. We use this for our bigger drills and for any kind of scrimmage type drills. The big takeaway here, you notice we keep the team area away from the parent area. Again, we want to set this expectation right away on day one that, this football time is for this 90 minutes or this 2 hours that we're with these kids. We want their focus on the coaching. We want to be able to teach them. We don't want a ton of distraction from mom and dad. Yes, we ask mom and dads to help during practice, but team time needs to be team time. So we set that expectation. We bring that energy and tone right away on day one as well. Day one for us is big. It's, I've coached on teams where the whole day one was spent running sprints and doing conditioning and doing jumping jacks and calisthenics and running cone agility drills. We don't do that. We're going to start building the foundation for what our season is going to look like at practice number one. And a big part of that is that we're going to get into our fundamentals immediately. And that starts before practice, and that goes into warm-ups, then that goes into the drills that we're going to run on day one. But We're going to hit fundamentals really hard every day, but especially on day one, we're going to talk about things like stance and drills. We're going to really, really focus in on technique, even on day one. We're going to teach these kids how we want them to hold the ball. We're going to teach these kids how we communicate as a team. Things like, we have some things that we do as like call and response for getting the kids to focus in, or getting kids quiet, discipline things like that. Man, we're going to teach these kids how we communicate as a team on day one. We're also going to go straight into tackle basics on day one, and blocking basics. Look, the way that you win in youth football is by being the best at tackling and blocking. It should be a part of your goals right away that you want to be the best blocking team and you want to be the best tackling team in your league and in your division. And we're going to start enforcing that on day one. We're going to spend most of our first day working on tackle drills and blocking drills. We have to do a week of practice without pads here. So we're going to learn these tackling and blocking basics without pads. We're helmets only the first week, and we are going to learn in a safe manner without pads. This lets us focus on that technique. It lets us focus on where we want our kids' heads to be, where we want their feet to be, where we want hands to be, how exactly we want them to wrap up. We want them to feel that the first time without pads on in a safe, controlled environment. Let them get the best feel for it so that we can start enforcing that proper technique right away. I mentioned it before. If you're a new coach, you're coming in with a team that hasn't played before, or if you're an existing coach and you're coming in with a team of kids who, maybe you got some that have played 4 years, you got a few that have played 3, you got a couple that have played 2, maybe one that played 1, and then now you've got 4 kids that have never played football before. We're going to spend day one, we're going to treat everyone like we're starting at square one. We're going to do basic tackle drills with everyone the same way. We're treating everybody like it's their first day. It's good for a couple reasons. It helps kids who are learning for the first time. It helps them feel a part of it sooner. It helps them feel a part of the team quicker. For kids who are needing a refresher from last year, it lets them get it without having to feel embarrassed about asking questions. And it's just the best way to go this first week. It is, again, we want to be safe. We're not going to do this in a way where kids are going to get hurt, but we are going to do a little bit of contact with no pads and getting shoulders in the right place and getting hands in the right place, heads in the right place. And we're starting that right away on day one. This is going to be the first thing we work on. So what does a successful first day look like? Well, a few things, I think. So first, it's reps. Reps. I want to have more reps than any team in our league. I want to coach quickly. I want to be fast. So that means we're going to use small groups. Now, my league tends to have smaller teams than some other coaches that I've talked to. We are not a league where teams have 30 kids or even 25 kids. Generally, we're dealing with 20 kids at most in the league I coach in. But even then, we're still going to use small groups. We're going to do circuits. We're going to do multiple drills at one time so we can get as many reps in as possible. So this first day, even though it's new and exciting and these kids are, remembering what it was like last year or they're learning this for the first time, we're going to get a bunch of reps in on the first day, man. We're going to get a good sweat going. We want the kids excited to be there, and we want them participating in every drill. Now, I know that goes without saying, but again, if this is their first time, they might not know how this works. So we want them to want to be a part of these drills. We're going to focus on these fundamentals, but we're going to do it in a way that advances our season plan. And I'll show you more about what that looks like here in a second. But all the drills that we're using are important to our offense and are important to our defense. We're not just doing things to run around or to sweat or to condition. We're already building in things that are important for the rest of the year. We're coaching kids, man. Kids have got to have fun. This has to be a fun game. If this is your first year coaching, it's not about wins and losses. The only goal you should have for your first year is that these kids come back and play a second year. And the way you do that is by making sure they have fun. We always try to end practice, especially for the first couple weeks of preseason. We always try to end practice with something fun. But you got to keep these drills fun, man. You got to keep them light. You got to make sure these kids are working hard, but you got to make sure they're smiling too. And then we're also going to make, like I said, we're going to make sure we're simulating the game on day one. We're going to use game speed as much as we can. We're going to make sure we're hustling and running everywhere. We're going to run in and out of drills. We're not going to walk on the field. So we're going to make sure that we're mixing that in on the first day as well. So let's jump into what drills we're doing the first day. And that starts at pre-practice. I am generally a early arrival for practice. I'm trying to have the first half of practice set up by about 35 minutes before the first whistle. On the first day, I said that for my league we are helmets only, so we don't have shoulder pads to worry about. But on the first day, we're doing helmet checks in pre-practice. We're making sure everybody's helmet's fitting right, getting chin straps in the correct place, making sure we're good to go. We get this done in the preseason and in the weeks leading up to practice generally, but there's always a few kids who show up with a new helmet and need some work. We're also going to do a little leg work and get our legs warmed up a little bit in pre-practice. Generally, that means we're going to lay out a couple agility ladders, let the kids kind of make up their own little agility runs through the ladders. And then the other big way we're doing that is we're going to do some passing lines. I've seen coaches run just a pop pass line, but we try to mix in some other skills. So we are generally running on the first day. We're going to run probably just 5-yard ends, but we might mix in a couple 5-yard post, 8-yard post kind of routes as well. We are, teaching kids how to catch the ball here. We're getting our feet moving. We're getting good cuts. We're starting this teaching right away. And again, these are things that are going to advance our skills. They're going to matter in the season. And we start working on them before the first whistle even blows. We make sure kids have got all their gear on and are ready to go. And then we blow that first whistle and we move straight into warm-ups. Warm-ups the first day is going to be the longest that warm-ups take all year. We're going to use this as both a warm-up time and as a true first drill. And we're going to cover quite a bit of stuff while we're in our warm-up session. Warm-ups for me are, we're not doing 30 minutes of jumping jacks and 30 minutes of running. And at most in season, warm-up's going to take maybe 7 minutes. We're going to do some high knees. We're going to do some butt kickers. We're going to work on some jumping and some sort of explosion with our legs. We're going to get a little stretched out, but these are kids, man. They don't need a ton of warm-up time. They've probably been going all day. Most of us are probably practicing at night after school. This is just a quick little period to adjust our way of thinking from the outside world into football. On this first day, we're gonna teach stance right away in this warm-up session. We're going to show them exactly how we want them to stand. Generally, this is going to be like an offensive stance. Maybe some of the defensive kids will adjust to a more defensive stance. But we're going to teach them what we want that to look like right away. And then once they're doing these warm-ups, we expect them to be standing that way, waiting for the next drill. And we're going to start enforcing that on day one. We're going to set the tone for the season right away in these warm-ups. We're going to, come out and have an intensity. We're going to set expectations for what football practice with us feels like and sounds like. I'm not suggesting that we're going to come out and scream at these kids and, make it bad for them right away. I am not a yelling and screaming type of coach. I leave that to others when needed, but generally it's not needed. I am an intense coach, and my expectations are very high, and that starts on day one. We'll cover some team rules. Probably most kids have heard them at this point. We'll do a mandatory team meeting before practice begins, and they'll hear them there, but we'll cover them again in these warm-up sessions. And then, again, we want these kids to have fun, and we want to advance our plan. So we're actually going to learn a play while we're in our first warm up set. Um, so we use a freeze play in our offense. It's a big part of our offense. We don't use a snap count. We always go with a freeze play. We're going to teach everybody that during warm-ups. So within the first 15 minutes of practice, we're going to know how to stand. The tone and the expectations of what it's like to play in my program are going to be very clear. They're going to hear the team rules again. They're going to get their feet moving. They're going to get their legs moving. They're going to get a little sweat build up, and we're going to learn our first play. And again, it's going to take 15 minutes the first day. The rest of the season, it's going to take no more than 7. So it's a big, I know a lot of people worry a ton about warm-ups. Look, man, just get the kids moving. Use it as a chance to talk to kids and connect with them, and then move on to the drills that are going to be a bigger part of your day. The first major drill we're going to do, like I mentioned, is we're going to do a big hawk tackle circuit. This is going to take up a huge portion of our practice the first day. If any of you guys have seen the actual Seahawks videos or any of the other videos that are out there on these circuits, you're probably familiar with what it looks like, but we're going to set up exactly like what you see in this picture here. We're going to start with some Superman drills and learning how to explode out of our hips. We're going to do some uppercuts into some bags to feel that strength and to feel what it's like to use our arms as these weapons. And then we are going to work with getting some power from our hips, wrapping up tight and rolling. We're going to roll on the first day, take kids to the ground on the first day. Again, we're not wearing pads. We're just wearing helmets. So we're going to do it safely and controlled. But we are going to get a bunch of reps in, and we're going to learn right away exactly how we want tackle. So, this first day we're working on head placement. We're working on arm placement and wrap, how to roll the right way. This is, it's basics, but like I said, we're going to treat everybody like it's square one. So the kids that have never tackled before and the kids that have tackled before are going to do the drills the exact same way, especially on day one. We will run a running back gauntlet the first day, and I've got a little diagram of what this looks like, but the way we will do this is we will set up a simulated play, and this is an actual play in our playbook. You're looking at basically just an off tackle run here, a power run. We are going to get a ton of reps in here. We're focused on speed. We're focused on reps, and we're going to start focusing on ball security right away. We're going to make sure that these kids are holding the ball how they need to be holding it. We're going to be clear about how important ball security is to our team. A lot of youth football games come down to turnovers, so we have to protect this ball, and especially in a crowded run like a power run, an off tackle run. Man, we have to protect this ball. So we're going to get in a bunch of reps. We probably are going to do multiple stations. We're probably only going to focus on one play the first day. We might mix in a couple as needed, but we will, the kid gets the ball. He's going to run to the off tackle hole. He's going to run 6 or 7 yards past, and he's going to sprint back to the end of the line. So we're getting in a ton of reps. You can start doing some evaluation here of running backs, obviously. You can have some kids trying out or testing their center skills here after you get a few reps in. If you got some kids who are angling to play quarterback, you can have them working on some handoffs here as well. But the main focus for this is we want to see that run, and we want to see speed. We want to see power. We want to see him hit the hole the right way, and we want to see him finish 6 or 7 yards. It's all about reps here. It's all about speed, but we are enforcing technique, and we're teaching it right away. This is gameplay speed. This is an actual play in our playbook, so it's important that everybody learns it. And we are, we're starting right away with building our foundation for what our program is like. Just like tackling, blocking is super important. I said it before, if you got to be the best tackling and the best blocking team in your league. So we're going to do a blocking circuit on day one. Same thing, we'll do multiple stations. We will set up the kids on each other's shoulders as if they have a man on their inside gap. And we're going to teach them our 2 main blocks on day one. We'll use pads for this on day one, since we'll use like blocking shields for this, since we are not in pads. But we're going to teach a down block on day one. It's a big part of our offense. And we're going to teach a drive block on day one. Same thing, man. We're looking for getting our hands in the correct spot. We're looking for using these hands as weapons. We're looking for a fight. This is an offensive drill, so we're not worried too much about block destruction or defensive play here. But this is a big piece of offensive play, and we want to be the best at blocking. So we're going to start enforcing proper technique right away on day one. The longer you wait to enforce proper technique, the harder it is to fix problems as they pop up. So we're starting here. This is a big part of our first day, and it's again game speed and simulating our actual offense, learning pieces of our offense on day one. Generally, this is a ton of fun too, as kids get to be a little rowdy and a little physical and compete with their friends on who's blocking better. Let's talk a minute about conditioning. I know I mentioned it before. I am not big on doing huge conditioning drills as part of practice. I do not like running sprints. I do not like anything along those lines, agility cones or 3-cone drills or anything like that as part of practice. We're going to condition as part of our drills. In offensive drills, we're going to run an extra 7 yards. In live play scrimmage, we're going to run our plays out to 30 yards. We're going to run contain drills, and we're going to run pursuit drills in defensive sets, and we're going to run those 20, 30 yards. We're going to play at game speed. We're going to do live substitution. We're going to run everywhere on the field. We're going to get a ton of running in. We're going to get a ton of speed in. And generally, we come into the season as the best conditioned team. And, we're going against teams that are spending half their practice running 3-cone drills or agility cone drills. So conditioning should be a part of your drills every day. It does not need to be its own section. If you want more on that, be sure to leave me a comment. If you made it this far into the video, please leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you're planning for your first day of practice. Let me know if you got any value out of this. If you did get some value, be sure to hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to get new videos as they come out and to help support us in making more videos like this. These kids have got to have fun. It's got to be a part of practice. And we try to end practice, especially the first week, with something fun every day. As the season goes along, that might change as we need to work on problems or fix things. And we tend to do that at the end of practice. But especially your first few days, and day one especially, you got to end with something fun. For me, that tends to be relay races or an obstacle course. Or the other one that I keep coming back to all the time is this deer hunter game. I've learned this from a couple coaches. You might see it pop up in some youth football forums here and there, but generally we're going to run a big 30-yard circle. We've got deer on the outside of the circle. We got hunters on the inside of the circle. It's basically a big game of tag. I know some people run it like dodgeball, but we play it like tag. The surprising thing about this is, especially on day one, man, this is a great evaluation drill for your team. You're going to see who your athletes are, and you're going to see a surprising number of football moves right out of the gate. And you're going to get a good idea of who your most elusive players are just in this fun little game of tag. It's a fun game to play. With younger kids, tighten up that circle a little bit. 7U, I'm generally running like a 20, 25-yard circle. 10U, we're out to 30, 35. And I've run this with 16-year-olds at a 55 to 60-yard circle. So it is a fun way to play. It is a great conditioning drill, and it is a great way to evaluate your players. Finishing up, just some overall tips for your first day of practice and how to make the most of it. This is a big one for me. We've got to stop with the stickers with names on helmets. You got to learn these kids' names right away on day one. It's the best way to earn their trust. No names on the helmets. We're pretty big on nicknames on my team, and so usually by the end of the first week, most kids will have a nickname, and that's going to stick for probably the whole season. But we're going to know everybody's name by the end of the third practice. In most cases, I know everybody's name by the end of the first practice, and we're good to go for the rest of the season. It's a great way to earn trust. It's super important to these kids. It's super important to their parents. Make sure you know their names and you're not relying on a sticker on the helmet. The next one gets some chuckles sometimes when I present it to other people, but I've learned this from three other coaches at this point, which is that touchy teams win. So what's that mean? Well, you got to start. You got to make sure from the start of practice to the end of practice, you're giving high fives, you're giving fist bumps, you're wrapping your arms around these kids, you're talking to them like humans, you're talking to them like adults. You're having a meaningful connection with these kids. You're teaching them to high five each other and hype each other up in drills. You're just making sure that there's always some connection happening. And that's generally high fives, fist bumps, hugs. Man, you're a huge part of these kids' lives. You're going to end up loving these kids. So make sure you are honoring that connection you're having with these kids and treating them well. We're big on high fives. We're big on fist bumps. We are making sure that we are always celebrating as a team. When kids are in warm-up lines, I'm going through and shaking everybody's hands. We're asking them how school was. We're making sure we know what's going on in their lives. This is big, man. Football is a memory these kids are going to have for their whole lives. And this is how you make sure that when they remember you, coach, that they remember you as the good coach and not the bad coach. Having a theme is an interesting one that I've picked up over the years. We will have a season theme. Sometimes we'll have a weekly theme, and sometimes we'll have a daily theme. So a daily theme could be something like fast feet or look up. Basically something we're going to use during practice that day as a focus point to bring everybody together. So if we're using fast feet, we're looking for fast feet in every drill. It's a call out, something we can point to, and we're going to use it all day. A weekly theme, could be offense or could be defense. Those are pretty simple versions, but, something like learn together or teamwork, things like that can be weekly themes. But then the season theme is the big one. So I have two teams this year that I'm working with, and one team is younger. It's their first tackle season together, and our season theme is just teamwork. That's our goal every day at practice and at every game, is that we want to be a team. Again, we're teaching them to celebrate. We're teaching them those high fives. We're teaching them to know each other's names. We're teaching them that they are part of a system and that they are important to that system. So teamwork is important. My older team that's been together for several years, something along the lines of taking the next step is what our season theme is going to end up being. But basically, again, something we can point to, something you can put on the back of a team t-shirt and it looks pretty good, something you can put on a banner. And, it's something you can point at. It's a metric that you can use for how your season is going and for what your team looks like. It is a great way to bring everyone together. We will use it as a breakdown at the end of practice. We will use it, again, as a metric for how things are going. And it's just a great way to bring everybody together when you need to. Something to focus on and something to remind everybody of why they're there. And then, man, this one's kind of dumb, but it becomes kind of fun as the years go by. We always have the kids clean up at the end of practice. We turn it into a competition. It's pretty dumb, but like seeing who can get the most cones or who can get bags to coach's truck faster. Obviously, it helps us coaches, but it ends up being a competition and it ends up being a team building thing. The kids end up working together. It's kind of funny. We have kids do what we call extra credit at the end of practice, where they tend to run extra at the end of practice without the coaches. That kind of develops on its own. But I would say to that, if you have some little cultural things that start to develop in your team and you like them, be sure to foster those moments. Celebrate those kids. Make sure they know that you think they're doing the right thing and helping your team grow. Man, youth football is such a big commitment, and we're out here working hard. So obviously the first day of practice is a big one. And as we're getting closer, I'm sure you guys are just like me and super excited to get things kicked off for the year. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you made it this far, be sure to leave a comment. Tell me what you think a successful first day looks like. If you got some value, click that like button. Can't thank you guys enough for watching the video. Last thing I got for you here is a look at our actual practice plan for our first day of practice. And you'll see it covers exactly what we've talked about here in the video. We got the majority of our time spent on tackling and blocking. We're going to run that running back progression. We're going to play deer hunter, and we're going to be in and out in 2 hours. This is our actual first practice from last year. We'll probably use it very similarly this year. You can see I've got a little spot for notes where I sort of remind myself what I need to cover and what I need to tell the kids and where my focus is. But this is exactly what it looks like. If you would like a template that you can use for practice planning like this, leave me a comment down below and I'll be happy to share that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate it. We can't thank you enough. Good luck to you this season, Coach. We'll see you in the next video.